second on the table, boys. Sounds pretty good. Bringing in the lads here, Moneta, Daniel, and Jared, of course, to just go over it all and break it all down and see what happens. We may get a little bit sidetracked as we generally tend to do. And before we get into it as well, just head along to warriorsanonymous.co.nz if you want to get some streetwear, some merch for the whānau, get everyone sorted. Mum, dad, kids, babies, everyone's all good in there. So get along and get yours today. Boys, let's start with a quick hard or nah, because I've been hearing a little bit of feedback from over on the Aussie side of the Tasman, where I'm based. Been hearing a little bit of feedback on social media and so forth. A little bit of mention about the Warriors team being a fraud. So we're in second place. We improved our points differential to +1, which is good. But yeah, we'll start with you, Moneta. How or not is this Warriors team a fraud?
No. I know there might be a level of bias. I am a Warriors diehard fan, but, I think in past seasons, they wouldn't be able to, in those kind of games. And they're now winning those games, even playing, I would say 60%. I'd say 60 to 70. I don't think they've reached their top game so far. So that gives me hope. And I think they can only get better. But I do get nervous that there will be a game where, because it just seems to be by inches at the moment. So yeah.
That's right. The inches we need are all around us. Al Pacino told us that a little while ago. Butter, what's your thoughts? Hard or nah, bro? Is this Warriors team a fraud?
No, not fraud. Like, I guess you got to give it to the unity, the mental toughness. The going back to 2023, there's a 1% effort plays, those sorts of things. We've got that in place, and I think that's something that Webby learned from last year. Probably took it for granted, and the team took it for granted, right? That they thought they could just show up and get the results, and we were on the other side of all those close losses last year too. Yeah, I mean it's nice to have the ability to win tough. I mean, I think a game like the Dragons, they just end up beating themselves. If that makes sense. They came back. Well, obviously, we had total control, and the criticism we should have, put more points away. And then, they came back into the game, but they just didn't manage the game that well. They didn't sort of capitalize on the momentum. We learnt, get that point early, things like that. And I think at the end, like they tried to play something expansive. A young half goes wide and screws it up. But the only concern I've got is one of the concerns I've got is two, should I say. You only get a certain amount of get out of jail free cards. Like Monera, he just dropped off and lost his.
Jumped off the tackle.
Every season, it's just luck of the draw. You might get 7, you might get 2. I think we've had a few, and we're starting to use a few of those get out of jail free cards early on, and then great to win those tight games as well. But I think we all know, like, have we got levels to the game, and can we go up a level as well? And I think we can, but it's just you want us to be starting to go up. So yeah, but fuck it, man. We'll take that shit. Eh? We will take it all day.
Absolutely. Moneta, is the internet connection near all?
I don't know. I think my wife is watching Love Island or something.
Yep. Oh well, it's got to be done for a while. Now, Moneta, bro, we just went over a little bit of the match itself against the Dragons. What was your reaction? Because last week you had a bit of an evacuation in your pants watching the game against the Cowboys. What happened this week against the Dragons?
I was pretty much emotionless because I was watching on my little phone and I was just staring at it, and I probably wasn't breathing. So I didn't shit my pants this time, but I wasn't breathing because a few moments I thought we had mucked it up, and I thought momentum was going their way. But I think a few key moments had saved us. So yeah. But I was better.
Yeah, fair. I got to say, the last 2 weeks, both games for me, I don't know what's been going on, but I've kind of just been watching and I haven't really been getting too high. We're up 30-12 and I'm like, and then when it closes up, I haven't really sort of gone, too far off. I don't know what's going on with myself and the team, but yeah, interesting times. But we've mentioned the points differential because people can't quite believe we're a bit of a record-setting team to be second on the table with a +1 points differential. I don't even think I think the last time that was bettered or worsened, I guess, was West Tigers back in the year 2000. They was second spot, and they were I think minus 28 or something like that, points differential. But do you think that will come back to bite us, potentially as the year wears on?
I'm hoping not. I mean, I'm hoping we're going to be the first team to take out the minor premiership with negative points. That'd be amazing. But yeah, I mean, it's too early in the season to kind of worry about that. I mean, just the key thing is we're just win collecting at the moment while teams are sort of forming, figuring out how they're playing, trying to get into the groove. Yeah, we're just win collecting. So even if we do have a little bit of a sort of a blip at some stage, the more we've got out the blocks fast. No, not necessarily the first round, but in the first third of the season, right? So, even getting close to the first half of the season. So, look, yeah, it's quite funny, and it gives the Aussies something to moan about. Well, how can they be there? But we're not beating ourselves in games, and some of the teams we're playing are beating themselves. So we'll take it.
Yeah, they can't rely on the old adage that just wait for the Warriors to just fall over, and it's like, no, we didn't really do that anymore. So yeah, I did find it interesting on the Channel 9 footy show on the weekend. I think it was Freddie Fittler. He was like, running through a couple of the names in the team, and he's like, I don't even know who these guys are, and they're out here winning games. And I think that's a really good sign, because it shows a lot of the guys who are coming through are coming up and doing a good job. And yeah, we're just kind of quietly sneaking up on a few people, which I like. Moneta, there was mention as well, Blake Ashford has mentioned about the number of close wins that this team has had, and how it may, help us going forward as we get down to the crunch games, perhaps later in the year. What is your take on that?
I think he's right. We've got experience now in those clutch moments. We've shown that we've got a lot of resilience to win those close games now. And I think once you get into the later of the season, our moments matter, and to be able to ice them is really important. I think lately we've been able to ice it compared to last year where we weren't able to do it. I think we're building experience. One, we haven't got our full top side yet. And two, like we said, they're not probably playing to their full potential, which Webster alluded to. He thought the second half was not that desirable. And so I think there's a lot to look forward to, even though we're just winning just at 1 point differentiation. I think there's a lot to look forward to. And I think it will only hold us in a good position for later rounds. Yeah.
Differentiation. Remember that one from maths class? Holy moly.
Yes.
I don't even know how to do that anymore, but I don't know if I knew how to do that. Yes, right. Pythagoras, where are you? But on that key field goal that Metcalf took, it was a bit of a surprise, I think, to a lot of people that he went so early, 10 minutes to go in the game. Turned out to be an absolute masterstroke. Got me wondering, what is the absolute earliest in a game that you could potentially do a field goal?
Well, I was just thinking, first of all, hats off, smart play. Why try to ice that moment in the frantic kind of sub 4 minutes to go, right, where teams are going to get out and try. It's the absolute sneak attack, right? And it wasn't like a high scoring affair, you score, I score, you score, I score type game. So it would be a bit different if we really we can score, try easy here, but we hadn't scored a point all half, and we had struggled a little bit, and you get a tight game. And I also, applaud taking a couple of those penalty shots as well. You're just building scoreboard pressure too. So absolute masterclass in, just being smart. And then, maybe teams just need to consider that actually, because it's also, it gives a bit of a break, it gives you a chance to reset. The only issue is if you drop a goal and then you have to kick off because someone sprayed water all over the ball, you drop it and then you hand over possession inside your own half and then you concede 4 or 6. So, but I'm a massive fan. Why compete with the craziness of that sort of? We saw it in the Panthers Cowboys game.
Yes,
it was frantic, and even with the best in the business, really couldn't get the job done.
Maybe the NRL can actually lean into that spraying the ball thing, and you could actually have a selection of different things you can spray on it, like olive oil or something like that, just to really put the cat amongst the pigeons.
Coconut oil, yeah.
Coconut oil. But, oh shit!
They just find new ways to be grubby, eh? There's always something.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised when urinates in the ball next. It's just come on, guys.
Remind me of Russell Packer when he was on his sideline.
Well, what else could you do? Could you start beefing up the bloody the padding around the goalposts as well, making it bigger and bigger, start putting in layers beneath it, and making it more difficult. I don't know. Anyways, good point as well about the the fact that we took the 2. A couple of times during that game where the commentators were like, oh, why don't they put the foot on the throat kind of thing. But turned out to be a very good ploy. Moneta, probably a little bit of a worry is that we had a really solid first half, albeit there were a couple of maybe defensive kind of lapses in there, as we do. But yeah, that second half, another, second half slump. So how sort of worried are you about that?
I think it's just stemming the momentum. I don't know how they do it, but once the other side gets the momentum, they seem to have trouble stopping it. So I think they may think of tactics in terms of how they stop the speed of the play and so forth. But that's what I've noticed from the Cowboys game. And that was the one that probably made me shit my pants more. Because we know Cowboys can come from whatever. Because the week before they beat, I think it was the Titans to 50-something. But yeah, how they stop the momentum. And I'm a bit worried about the Dolphins, if I'm being honest. They play quite enterprising football. And they've got Hammer at the back. And he's slick. So they're going to really have to think of ways to stop the momentum because I don't think...
There is a big door, though, at the Dolphins, and his name is Cody Nikarima. He is the turnstile. I mean, I say that. He's obviously taking his game to another level. But there was a moment a couple of weeks ago, I just had to share with the boys that, hey, normal services resumed because he couldn't tackle jack shit. But yeah.
No,
I am worried. They're apparently the top 3 running meters as well. So the Dolphins like to get up and get running,
Yeah, they'll be an interesting side as well because they'll be almost the opposite, I think, of the Cowboys, where you would expect a bit of an onslaught in the first half before they kind of tail off. So
they play attractive rugby, Dolphins.
They
watched
do.
them a few times, and it's quite good to watch.
There's a few attractive guys there too. Herbie.
They do play attractive footy, but they also, I think they let teams play a lot on them as well, much like the Cowboys as well. So going to be interesting to see how the match unfolds. It could be another quite entertaining game.
Just on that second half, like performance, got to factor in some HIAs. So Jacko Ford goes down as well. Bunty out, and Fisher's back this week, but without kind of. We have that middle period where we can't have Mitch necessarily on with Aaron and starters there as well. So there is susceptible to, and I think early in the season we were susceptible to that kind of 50-minute to 65-minute period where we might not necessarily have the number one pack
came
out.
into second row and he played pretty well. He came in, played like really mobile second row, and he was saying, but he played a different way.
Bit of energy, and it's nice to have something there. You could see it was blowing, but fair enough. The bro's right in the middle, But yeah, so you had that. I guess with the injuries too that we've had, we've been stretched. I think we're not stretched to breaking point, and I guess we've got troops coming back, and we've got a bigger squad now, and that will be all good for the extra game time as well. But I was just going to say one little bugbear I've had with our Warriors fans is, and it probably surfaced up when Chance re-signed for another 2 years, and there was a little bit of a mixed feeling, and I get the sense because we've got Tane there, who we think is kind of could be a fullback in waiting, and he's been playing really well, and actually I think he had a really good game this week too. But if it wasn't for Chance, I don't think we get that win. His level goes up in those real tough times, those tough moments. So I reckon from about 60 minutes, 55 minutes in, we're blowing. He probably does his best work. He's taking 1, if not 2 carries a set. A couple of times he's darting 15, 20 meters as well. Got criticised for trying to play the ball upright and almost falling over. But look, you got to give it to him. And I hope Warriors fans can realise that's why you have a player like that. He is. I just don't think we win a game like that. And before Monero tees off on Dallin, I think the only I guess first game of the season, he's kind of not in the mould of how the boys have been, because we've been really mistake free, really, not completely, but our error count's been really low. It was disappointing to see, especially in those real crucial time where our back's against the wall and we just get the ball, and next thing you know, we overrun the carry and we just drop the ball. So before you tee off on him, I think it was just because he's just getting back.
I'll settle for him.
I like how you've got him with the defence first. This is not normally how a courtroom drama unfolds. Normally it's the prosecution first.
I want to get out early.
Well, that means Moneta's going to have the closing argument on this, which is maybe a dangerous place to be. Moneta, Dallin returned, and his defence caused a few heart attacks as well.
Okay, I'm going to approach this differently. The unexpected, right? to positives. He did make those runs from the back. You could see it was evident that he made those. We kind of missed those charging runs. He did make 150
Standing
meters,
back.
so I'll give him credit for that. But God, he's always had the tendency to jam in and expose, leave a huge player unmarked. As an ex-winger, I used to get told off for doing that. So I'm not perfect. I've done that before too. But watching a professional do that, and it's not only been this year, but it seems to be a bit of a behavioural thing from him. But it became a bit more evident in this game. I watched him probably like 4 or 5 times jam in, and when he jammed in on the last play, that was probably the only thing that kind of actually worked out. And he still dropped the ball. And if he didn't catch the ball, the other guy would have been scooting down. So it's a high risk play, like bloody high risk. And I think he's just got to trust the marker inside. Yeah, I know it's like Capewell, but there still has to be that trust on your inside man, which is quite hard because you haven't got your normal centre. But God, please, I hope it's only rust because I do want him to do well. He's a great finisher. He runs off the back pretty well. But please, DWZ, don't jam in every time. Please.
It is interesting, isn't it? I am actually reminded of when he came in a couple of years ago. I think it might have been 2023, and he'd missed about the first 7 games of the year and came in and was doing similar things. And I was like, get this guy out of there. Like I was ready to sell him down the river. And so this time around, I'm thinking, all right, I'm not gonna go all in like I did last time. All I will say is that I feel a lot safer with Tane defending on that right wing rather than Dallin at the moment.
Even Kossie was good. I have to admit it.
He did a good
Kossie
job.
was good.
But I mean, you could see it. I think you could see an improvement as that game wore on because Dallin started to. I think it was a timing thing and trying to be in the right spot. A lot of the times he'll go for the intercept maybe a bit more than your average winger. And a couple of times he got hands on the ball and it was like, okay, he's finding his timing and his rhythm. But
I hope it's rust. I just hope it's rust. That's all. I'm hoping for the best.
It will be, and I know he's got tendency, but it'll be a bit of rust, bit of nervous energy. I mean, for me, it was more the drop balls when we're under the line, under the pump. That they're just momentum killers, and it's those errors that compound, right, as well. And
to be fair,
defending those errors.
DWZ again, that was a pretty bad pass from Metcalf from dummy half. Like when you took it on. So to be fair, again, like I'm surprising. I'm being fair to DWZ. That pass was pretty rubbish. Yeah,
true. It was just not a great time of the game, right? When we were like under the pump, and then they would just hand the ball back to them.
Also in defence of Metcalf on the pass, which wasn't great. It may be a little bit deceptive when you're passing to Dallin because there's his body and then there's his hair, which trails behind. So he might have, but I got a little bit just thrown off by that. But that's right. Boys, a little bit of news dropped during the past couple of days is around the, just to take a little sidestep here, the Lewis Brown designed uniforms that are coming up. The black and white look, which is I think going to be one against the Canberra Raiders. What are our thoughts on this? What are we thinking? Are we liking it? Are we digging it, or are we not so hot? Buddha, what's your thoughts?
I thought it was a new Kiwis jumper.
I'm gonna be honest too. I'm no fashionista, but I thought it was the Kiwis jumper too.
But I don't mind. It's nice. We love a traditional black kit.
It's all good.
But I don't want to poo-poo it, but it just looks like. Or like West Magpies.
But hey, what do I know about fashion, right? He's
Yeah, West
All
Magpies.
I know is you create any jersey and the punters will lap it up. So it doesn't really matter.
Collectors.
Yeah, absolutely. When I saw it, I was like, yes. I love me I always love the black and silver colours, so seeing the black and white. Also thought it was maybe a little bit genius, a little bit cheeky perhaps of the Warriors, because knowing that full well that there could be a bid coming up from the the Southern Orcas to try and enter the NRL. I was like, okay, the Warriors are getting their Orcas on with this uniform, so just try and box them out a little bit, knock back the competition. But in terms of expansion teams that are coming, the Bears are they're back. Well, they're back in Western Australia anyway, and that's going to have an impact obviously as well with PNG coming in as well. Some more teams, same salary cap set up. So basically, it's going to push a few values of players up. We've already seen Lockie Galvin's value go way up. Jamal Fogarty as well. So it's got me wondering, what are we going to need to pay our young guns, namely Metcalf and Leka and whoever else we want to talk about? We'll start with Metcalf. Moneta, what are you thinking that we might have to start shelling out in terms of coin for him to keep him?
He's proven his worth this year, isn't he? He's only getting better every game, and he's had a lot of clutch moments to win us the game. I think we'd have to try and find a bit of money in the bank to keep him. We need to keep him. If we lose him, I'll be gutted, to be honest.
Give us a number, bro. Give us a number. What are you writing on your check?
I mean, the way they're going at the moment, they're going for nil, aren't they? These halves at the moment. If you see them as a long-term investment, then you'd go for a mil, wouldn't you? Yeah, at least. Just judging by what's on the market.
The current rate of inflation? Yeah, I reckon that's pretty much sound.
If the salary cap's going up, probably at least a mil. And he's showing you that,
It all depends on, I think if you think about the Penrith model outside of Cleary, I mean, not even Luai, right? Like, he wasn't necessarily top dollar. I think if we can show, with the collective group that there's something here, like we could be, I say the words dynasty. Like there's something here, and you've got obviously reserve grade who just could probably beat the Titans now. That sounds so good. I think there's something happening where you might be able to kind of keep salaries in check a little bit, not for too long, because I guess naturally, because it's the whole thing, like you can go to a starter club, but if you've got a sniff of a chance of being, to win a grand final or to play playoff footy, you're not going to get that at the new expansion clubs, right? Like, I mean, the Dolphins getting close.
No.
And a different code in Auckland FC, that's just crazy. I don't know if you necessarily need to go pay top dollar, but it all depends on how the rest of the season goes. Just gut feel, I think a midi could go for a 750.
I'm just worried about like a Dylan Brown scenario where Newcastle Knights chuck the bank at him, and that's where I'm like going. They chuck silly money at Dylan Brown, which I don't think he actually is worth that much, if I'm being honest. So I'm just thinking if we really, he's been developing at the club. He's been proving his,
I think the Dylan Brown scenario is the Eels are going backwards. And I get it. I just think he probably thought my time at the Eels is done. We don't seem to be top 8, top 4 material as well. But I mean, I don't want to. Everyone's going to get top ups, right? Yeah. The Lekas. You got to put good deals in front of them as well. Some of our, it'd be interesting to see with some of our higher paid players now. Marata's on good coin, right? We're not necessarily putting the same deals in front of him now, so you can break a little bit of money off there. Everyone's going to get bump up, but I'd love us to kind of, perform well enough to give that cohort of players confidence. Give a 2-3 year, you'll get incremental uplifts, but we all know, once you win a GF, once you're like a Jerome Luai or, you can charge what you want. Even a Taruva, right? Like he was involved in a couple of those campaigns. He's gone for great money. Don't just chase that dollar straight away. Yes, the dollar's important. Success is also important too, eh?
Indeed. What's your just a quick number on Leka? What's your thinking on Leka?
What do you get Leka for? Does he command 500,000 deal a year for the next 4, or with upside to 750? Player options up.
We've got to keep him, mate. Yeah.
You just got to think about how can we get that talent in there, but But then
that
valuation is so important.
We got cash. We're flush at the moment. We got bloody Tohu, Walker, Sean, and Adam. All that money's all.
Yeah.
Adam's money was Fisher's money, right? So.
Ah, yeah, true. Well, we saved a little bit on that. We did save a little bit.
Because I think Adam was a bit more. Yeah. Than Fisher.
Adam was more. Yeah.
See, Fisher's back as well. Take on the Dolphins. One upside of us doing a late podcast in the week is that we actually know who the team list is. So.
I reckon if Smokey kept RTS on the bench, from all accounts, he's running well, and he was training at Magic Ground with Dallin, back at home reasonably well. So, my gut feel is that he'll be back. They'll sneak him to the team. He's in the 22, whatever, 24, whatever it is. Because, just looking at the bench, we've got Sam Healy and Tamaiti, but we're short of middle forward without no Jackson Ford, no Bunty.
Yep.
So Yeah, we're a bit light in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with Roger, right? Like, when I saw that last week, I was like, well, listed in the extended reserves, and I was like, well, he's either fit and playing or he's not, and he won't. Like, it's not as if he's going to be a bench player or a reserve or 18th man or anything like that. So, yeah, interesting to keep an eye on that and how that develops. Moneta, what's your thoughts on the bench? Because currently it's listed with Te Maire on there, as well as Sam Healy, who got bumped down sort of last minute last week.
I'm just wondering if Weaver's got TMM potentially playing back row again. But yeah, I don't know. I think we are missing something in the forwards. Like, I'd like to have one more big body on the bench.
Do you think Healy will drop out again?
I think Healy will probably drop out. I think RTS would come in, and I don't know. I think the centres would change a bit, and Kate Wog will go back to second row or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Don't know.
Doing the full reject.
Yeah,
I was actually thinking he'd just come in and Tane will drop down to like 18th man or something.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking that.
Well, I'm worried about the mid years without Jackson Ford and Bunty.
Yeah.
There's a song like that, Jackson Ford Bunty. How bizarre. Otherwise. So my view is that Roger comes in, they just got to keep him there. He goes in,
Yeah.
Kate just go back to the edge, and Marata goes back to the bench or starts. But, I think without Marata there, we only have Dimitrik as a middle forward, really. I mean, Laban could probably play there too, so
yeah,
it's a bit skinny.
That's the only thing I'm worried about. But then I'm thinking Dolphins are a mobile, fast, quick team, and are they trying to fight fire with fire? Obviously with TMM, he played second row, even though he was huffing and puffing. I thought he did pretty well. He's really versatile, and with Healy, he's an energizer, in terms of the bench. So that's the only thing that I was thinking. Maybe it's the change of tactics against Dolphins, because if you're watching Dolphins play, they play some enterprising rugby.
Yeah, I can see some very real merit in having either Te Maire or especially Healy on the bench against the Dolphins, because I think there could be plenty of footy, especially as we get into that sort of second half. It's going to be, it could be interesting. But before we jump out, bro, how do we beat the Finns, the Dolph Lundgrens?
The Dolph Lundgrens. So I think the blueprint for a lot of these teams is you just have to defensively weather the storm. They're a team that can put on points. They can break from anywhere, and you've got express pace, right, with the hammer. From a assist point of view, he's been playing really well. Katoa is like one of the best up and coming halfbacks in the game, but they do beat themselves as well. If you can let them beat themselves as well, they will, go, you score, I score, you score, I score, you score two, and you lose, kind of thing. So we've just got to be mindful of that. But I think we can win that arm wrestle as well and put them under pressure. So the blueprint for what we do is not super expensive footy, right? I think we just ground and pound. We just get back to what we've been doing as well. That's why we've got 1 point advantage this year, because we just beat them. So I think we don't have to match fire with fire. We just need to be the stronger team at the end.
Yeah, we're not a flame grilled, are we? We're a slow cooker. That's us.
We put them fuckers in the slow cooker too.
That's right. Yeah, we put them in it and wait for them to flake. Anyways, lads, it's been fun covering a few things. Wise. Any last words before we jump out for this episode? We're good.
No more heart attacks, please. Last 10 minutes. Can we just make it easy?
We just win by 12 plus,
Yeah, please. Thanks.
When was the last time we had a 10 minutes to go and you won the game?
Yeah.
Last week when Metcalf kicked that field goal, I was like, yeah, we're sweet.
Yeah, we got it.
Sure.
Nerves of steel. Nerves of steel. Get out of jail cards. Money ball. That's all been happening. All right. Until next week, thanks very much for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And we will wait and see what happens against the Dolph Lundgrens over at Suncorp. Until then, up the wires and